Breaking news coming in, BCCI Secretary Debajit Sakya says due to the recent developments that are going on all across, BCCI has instructed the franchise KKR to release one of their players, Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh, from their squad, and BCCI has also said that if they ask for any replacement, BCCI is going to allow that replacement. So that is a major statement that is coming in from BCCI Secretary Debajit Sakya. He has said that he is going to allow the replacement if KKR replaces Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh. As we know that Mustafizur Rahman was facing flack because of the reason that BJP leaders questioned, and will toss to some reactions.
Due to the recent developments which is going on all across, BCCI has instructed the franchisee KKR to release one of their player, Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh, from their squad, and BCCI has also said that if they ask for any replacement, BCCI is going to allow that replacement.
BCCI Secretary Debajit Sakya says due to the recent developments that are going on all across, BCCI has instructed the KKR to release one of their players, Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh, from their squad, and BCCI has also said that if they ask for any replacement, BCCI is going to allow that replacement. So that is a major statement that is coming in from the BCCI, that they have allowed KKR to replace Mustafizur Rahman in their team from their squad, and BCCI has also said that if they ask for any replacement, BCCI is going to allow the replacement. As we know that many BJP leaders questioned and slammed Shah Rukh Khan for inducting Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh and adding to their squad, but now that the BCCI has made it stand clear that they'll have no problem if KKR wants to replace Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh in their team. And as we know that Mustafizur Rahman was one of the most expensive Bangladeshi players that was purchased by KKR in this season. And as we know that many leaders across the country, including UPT Sena, also questioned the move of him playing in the IPL. So that is a major statement that is coming in from the BCCI, that BCCI has instructed the KKR Kolkata Knight Riders to release one of their players, Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh, from their squad, and BCCI has also said that if they ask for any replacement, BCCI is going to allow that replacement as well. So, but what we want to see is that as we know that BCCI had also confirmed that there's going to be a bilateral series between the two nations, that India is going to visit Bangladesh and play against Bangladesh. So we'll have to see whether the BCCI also cancels that tour of India to Bangladesh as well. So as we know that Shah Rukh Khan was facing flack for inducting this Bangladeshi player, Mustafizur Rahman, in Kolkata Knight Riders, and many BJP leaders also questioned him. And now we are joined by Vineet Ramakrishnan on this broadcast. Vineet, how do you see this development?
Well, this was the best case scenario, from a BCCI perspective, the best case that they could have done in terms of mitigating the situation on the backdrop of the kind of backlash for the last few days that we had been reporting towards KKR, Shah Rukh Khan and Mustafizur Rahman. So this was the best case scenario. BCCI Secretary Debajit Sakya just saying that, they have instructed KKR to release Mustafizur Rahman, and if there is a replacement that the KKR would want, they would be allowing that as well. So yeah, it's a best case scenario at this point in time for BCCI. As I mentioned, Mustafizur Rahman was bought in for rupees 9.2 crores, but from a KKR perspective, he wasn't really a shoe-in or a first choice automatic pick in the 11. He was anyway a backup option bought for Matisha Patrana, the Sri Lankan pacer. So from a KKR perspective, they will now have a directive in terms of what to do with Mustafizur Rahman. So it is very clear Mustafizur Rahman will not be traveling to India, will not be playing in the IPL. But the larger question, Harsh, here would be, if this is the precedent that is being set in terms of Bangladesh players, what would you do when the World Cup comes around? The World Cup, remember, comes before the IPL in February as well. The entire Bangladesh team would be traveling to India as well. So that creates now a bigger problem for the BCCI. Again, they are in a fix, even though might have mitigated this Mustafizur Rahman situation. But then again, Bangladesh players traveling to India in February would be a larger question that now BCCI would have to take their brains over.
Vineet, is he the only Bangladeshi player in the whole of IPL, Mustafizur Rahman? Or is there someone else also?
Well, currently, he's the only Bangladesh player who was picked up in the IPL 2026 auction for 9.2 crores for KKR. Remember, there were 7 Bangladesh players who registered their name at the auction. 6 of them went unsold, and it was Mustafizur Rahman who was the only guy to have been picked. And Mustafizur has been part of multiple IPL teams in the past as well, has been playing multiple years in the IPL with Sunrisers Hyderabad, Mumbai Indians, and most recently last year.
Vineet, I'll come back to you. We're also joined by Payal Mehta on this broadcast. Payal, but the violence in Bangladesh was already ongoing. Why the decision now, all of a sudden?
Well, of course, the IPL auctions did take place a couple of weeks ago. Though I'm sure the government of India and the BCCI, under the advice of the government of India, has taken this call because remember, security and the relations with the neighboring nations are completely under the domain of the Indian government over here. We'll have to just wait and see what explanation comes in from the BCCI as far as that is concerned. But for now, of course, peace has been brought in because there was a lot of backlash as to why the KKR had picked up this Bangladeshi player that Vineet was just speaking about and whether it was avoidable or not. But the fact of the matter remains, very clearly that this player was available in the playing pool and that's the reason he was really picked. But looking at the circumstances, the way it is going, probably the BCCI has thought it best to buy peace and ensure that this player is not part of the IPL tournament anymore.
Right, Payal. Let me go across to Vineet. Vineet, is this the first time that this has happened, that BCCI will allow a replacement in the IPL, or is that has happened before also?
Well, the replacement happens when a player is unavailable, pulls out on his own accord in terms of personal reasons or injuries. But something of this sort, in terms of the government intervention, in terms of public backlash, in terms of the geopolitical scenario in certain countries between India, this is the first time. But yeah, replacements have been allowed, but it was purely basis, let's say on injury basis, or the player wants to pull out for some personal reasons. That is the situation where the replacements are allowed, but this one is a first time. And from a KKR perspective, yeah, they would be looking for a replacement there, and it would be a big sigh of relief for them as well in terms of their own brand and in terms of how they wanted to go about it as well.
Right. Let me go across to Payal now. Payal, when it comes to such matters, the government has to make the stand clear. They have to clear the air, because a similar thing have happened in the past also. After the Mumbai attacks, similar thing happened with the Pakistani players. What do you make of that?
Well, the government of India certainly can advise the Board of Control for Cricket in India. But remember, the Board of Control for Cricket in India is an independent organization. This is a private tournament. This is not like a government of India sponsored tournament, not like a World Cup, beg your pardon, not like Olympics, etc. as well. So that is something which has to be noted for. Acting upon the advice of the government of India, the final security clearance is always given by the Home Ministry. Acting upon that, the BCCI really acts. So, whether you remember, I think in 2009, after the IPL was shifted to South Africa, because the government of India had made it very clear that they would not be able to provide security in the view of the elections as well. So all of these issues are tackled at multiple levels. Like I said, the BCCI always acts on the advice of government of India when it comes to security related issue. We'll have to just wait and see what the explanation of the BCCI really is in terms of why they've asked KKR to ask for this player to be withdrawn. Did the IPL governing authority not see this coming, given the fact that the Hindu deaths have caused a lot of upheaval, have caused a lot of discomfort amongst various political quarters, with people demanding answers from the government of India as to why no action was being taken against the killing of the Hindus. And that is something which Dr. Jaishankar has also in the past raised with the Bangladeshi authorities. You remember the moment Yunus came in as an interim arrangement after Sheikh Hasina fled from Bangladesh. It was very clear on the first time that the Prime Minister, in fact, wrote to Yunus congratulating him for taking over the government of Bangladesh. In the very first tweet, the Prime Minister had made a mention of the responsibility of Bangladesh to ensure that all the citizens were made safe. At least being spoken about over here is the Hindu community.
Right, right, Payal. Payal, do tell our viewers, is this only because SRK was facing heat yesterday for buying this particular player from Bangladesh?
I don't know. I do not think it is an individual call. It's a call that the nation has constantly been saying that, our Hindus are getting killed over here. Why are we giving employment to a Bangladeshi? That's been the largest sentiment as well. It cannot be because of SIR. SIR is, of course, part of the KKR. He owns the KKR team. The KKR team also has other stakeholders, including Juhi Chawla and her husband. And, of course, there are other smaller stakeholders as far as KKR is really concerned. But yes, Shah Rukh Khan remaining a big celebrity, the focus entirely was on him. He has faced a lot of online abuse and online hate, calling him anti-national also by certain quarters as well. But the call has to be taken by the BCCI. SRK or the KKR, Harsh, did not ask for an individual player. It was available as part of the pool. They have the money to pay
Right.
for it. And you pay from that money that you really want to buy as many players as you want.
Right, right, Payal. Vineet, do tell our viewers that will they cancel the bilateral series that they had announced, because Bangladesh Cricket Board had confirmed that India will be going to Bangladesh for the bilateral series.
Well, it's a call that the BCCI and BCB would have to come together and take. As I mentioned, the bilateral series is scheduled to be in September, August in 2026. By that time, the situation, if it de-escalates or if there is a pathway into what could be in that period in time, it would be a discussion between BCCI and BCB. And as I mentioned, it is not something that is set in stone. It is a likely schedule that the BCB announced. There is no confirmation from BCCI side that they would be touring. It's a calendar that has been set by BCB. The postponed series in 2025, they have replaced it in the 2026 calendar. So it would be a discussion that BCB and BCCI would be taking on, but it is in August, September. So there's still time in terms of discussing those scenarios. And of course, the scenario discussion would happen only if the situation in Bangladesh de-escalates.
Right, right. Payal, do tell our viewers that what will be the future of India-Bangladesh relations? Because if we see, this is a very tough decision that has been taken by the BCCI.
Well, we shouldn't read too much into India-Bangladesh situation over a players issue, given the fact that we still are neighbors with Bangladesh. We still have relationships going with Bangladesh, and that's the reason Dr. Jaishankar himself was sent by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Khalida Zia's funeral. There was, of course, an exchange of communication as well. Prime Minister himself had sent a letter of communication that Mr. Jaishankar had carried with him. Rajnath Singh also visited the Bangladesh High Commission over here and paid his tributes as well. We have not completely done away with Bangladesh. We have not completely said we're snapping all ties with Bangladesh. Our situation with Bangladesh cannot be equated with the situation with Pakistan. With Pakistan, we've said terror and talks will not happen together, and we will not talk to Pakistan till a terror issue is really brought to the table for discussion as well. So Bangladesh still continues to be an important neighborhood that we really had. And you heard Dr. Jaishankar speak about this yesterday at IIT Madras when he said that you have relations which are different with different neighbors. Sometimes the neighbors are good and sometimes the neighbors are not so good as well. But as of now, we do have trade, etc., going on with Bangladesh. Of course, India is extremely concerned about the state of affairs as far as the attack on minorities is concerned, and at various levels that is being taken up with the Bangladeshi authorities.
Right, right, Payal. Vineet, if you could tell our viewers that who could be the replacement player? That has to be a foreign player or it could be an Indian player also?
The replacement would have to be a foreign player. It should be a like-for-like replacement. So it would most likely be a foreign player from the pool. There will be the registration. There were over 1,000 players who were registered, 500, 300 odd shortlisted. So KKR would be choosing, will be trying to look at a fast bowler, left-arm fast bowler, preferably. But yeah, the plethora of options in terms of who they can choose, and they still would have a bit of time to mull over that decision.
Right, right, Vineet. Payal, if you could tell our viewers about the politics that was brewing on this particular issue yesterday. Different parties were saying different things. If you could tell our viewers about that.
Well, the temperatures were certainly on the rise given the fact that people felt that on one front, our players are allowed to play and mingle with the Bangladeshis. On the other hand, the Bangladeshis are in fact causing a lot of harm to Hindus as well. You had various saints coming up and really accused Shah Rukh Khan of being an anti-national. There was Ram Bhadracharya, who in fact spoke about that as well. Of course, there was a lot of defense coming in as far as Shah Rukh Khan's way is really concerned. But political parties for the longest have been maintaining a line saying that, you cannot have, play with Pakistan or Bangladesh, given the fact There are atrocities on our people. So there's been a long-standing argument as far as that is concerned. But the view of the government of India has been that these are sometimes there are multilateral tournaments that you really have to participate in. That there's nothing much that you can really do. Any tournament which comes under the ICC schedule has to be adhered with. Otherwise, there are a lot of sanctions that have to be placed over here. But this is India's internal tournament. This is India's Indian Premier League, as it is called, and this is a private tournament. So the call for the BCCI would have been the supreme authority to decide on this. They wouldn't have had to refer this matter to the ICC for sure.
Right, right. Vineet, if you could tell our viewers about the viewership angle in this particular matter, because if you see that earlier famous, popular Bangladeshi cricket players like Shakib Al Hasan and other players as well were also involved in the IPL. So, would that affect the viewership angle of the IPL now?
Well, not really. It would not affect the viewership angle. Look, from the IPL perspective, we are into the 19th season, 18th season of the IPL, and there's only been 7 Bangladesh players who have played. From a KKR perspective, Shakib Al Hasan, Mustafizur Rahman, Mushraf bin Murtaza, there have been 4 Bangladesh players who have been part of KKR setup. And you can look at it. There's a pattern in the sense they always look for that fan base. KKR is based out of Kolkata, West Bengal, Bangladesh, the neighbors. So they always look for that fan base. But then again, as I mentioned, in the 18 seasons, there have only been 7 Bangladesh players who have played in the IPL, and 2 of them for multiple teams and for multiple years. So I don't really think there would be any issue in terms of viewership decreasing or anything of that sort, even from a KKR point of view. And as I mentioned earlier, Mustafizur Rahman was never really a first choice automatic pick in that KKR 11 as well. He was a backup to Matisha Patirana, the Sri Lankan pacer. So KKR would not be fretting too much over this. As I mentioned, they might be having a sigh of relief that the situation is now mitigated from the BCCI side, in fact.
Right, right, Vineet. Vineet and Payal, I would request you to stay on with us as we are joined by Pallavi Ghosh, who's live from Dhaka. Pallavi, how do you see this statement from the BCCI? What do you make of it?
Well, it comes as no surprise really, Harsh, and BCCI is basically taking cognizance of the fact there is a lot of anger and outrage back home in India over the fact that Hindus are being targeted. And the question which is being raised and which has been raised against KKR, against Shah Rukh Khan, is that when you are aware of the fact that Hindus are being systematically targeted in Bangladesh, why is it then that you are allowing a Bangladeshi player to be involved in the cricket match or even a part of the team? You know, we have been reporting from the ground, Harsh, and we are all aware of the many incidents. In the last 2 weeks, there have been 5 attacks on Hindus. They were systematic, they were orchestrated, and they were very deliberate. Even though the Bangladesh authorities want to dismiss it off as local or professional rivalry, that's not really the case. The way Dipu Chandra Das, for example, was brutally killed, his body was hanged from a tree and then burned. Kokon Chandra Das hit on the head and then petrol poured on his head and on his face, and an attempt being made to put him on fire. He managed to save himself, but his condition continues to remain critical. You know, Harsh, there was a time when there was 30% of the population of Bangladesh were Hindus. Over the last couple of years, it's come down to 9%. Either many of them have preferred to go underground, so they don't want to be a part of the census, or they have decided to leave the country. And those who have decided to stay back because they have work here, professional reasons, they are living in fear. They don't know what to say, how much to say, and what they're most worried about is that as Bangladesh inches closer and closer to the February 12th poll, things may get even more scary and insecure for them.
Right, right, Pallavi. Pallavi, but do tell our viewers, that, will this add to the fuel when it comes to the anti-India sentiment or the anti-Hindu sentiment in Bangladesh, removing this particular player from the IPL?
See, there are 2 different things over here, Harsh. The anti-India sentiment is largely also because of the fact that Sheikh Hasina continues to remain in Delhi, and that is where they're angry with South Bloc, saying that why is it that India is aware of the fact that Sheikh Hasina is guilty, she needs to be sent back. What would India do if we would meddle in their internal affairs? So Sheikh Hasina being kept there for almost more than a year is meddling into Bangladesh internal affairs, and multiple requests have been made and India has not taken cognizance of that. She's been staying there, she's been giving interviews. So their anger against India is that why is Sheikh Hasina not being allowed to come back to Dhaka? Because then she should face her punishment or fate over here. That's one reason. Second, there are many in Bangladesh political circle who feel that just because there are elections coming up in Bengal, this entire narrative is being pushed that there are illegal immigrants coming in from Bangladesh into Bengal and taking away the rights of the Hindus or the Bengalis over there. Again, this is a narrative they are saying you're using for your own political purpose. So that is the reason why there's an anger towards India. That anger towards India in many cases is spilling over towards the Hindus as well also, Harsh, because many of these Hindus, most of them in fact, have their antecedents to say parts of Bengal. Many of them come from Murshidabad, where they come from Birbhum, Kolkata and so on and so forth, and they've settled down here for generations. Also, most of them are doing very well. They contribute to the economy of Bangladesh. So that anger is spilling out there. Why should they get the benefits? Why should they get the promotions? Why should they get the professional advantage? So not the anger against India is on two counts, and the ones who are having to pay the price for it are of course the Hindus, who are the minorities, just around 9% of the population in Bangladesh.
Right, Pallavi. Pallavi, stay on with us as we'll listen into the statement made by BCCI Secretary Devajit Sakya.
Due to the recent developments which is going on all across, BCCI has instructed the franchisee KKR to release one of their player, Mustafizur Rahman of Bangladesh, from their squad. And BCCI has also said that if they ask for any replacement, BCCI is going to allow that replacement.
And our coverage continues as we are joined by Payal Mehta, Vineet Ramakrishnan and Pallavi Ghosh, who is live from Dhaka. Payal, if you could tell our viewers, what is the stand of the BJP when it comes to this issue?
Well, the BJP certainly will not go out of the way and comment on an issue which is as sensitive as this, because remember, theirs is the government which is in place, and the government is going to be in the best position right now to have taken a decision. Even though the BCCI at this point in time has recalled, the player has asked for KKR to recall that particular player from the IPL, and like Vineet was mentioning, he was not even going to be part of the playing 11. Having said that, the BJP as of now has decided not to really, jump the gun and comment on an issue where the government itself is playing a role and taking a role on that as well.
Right, Payal. Many thanks, Payal, Pallavi and Vineet, for joining us and updating us with the info.
Make informed decisions with comprehensive analysis on the go.
Strengthen your portfolio with real-time market updates on the go. Create effective strategies with insightful expert opinions on the go.
Grow on the go with CNBC-TV18, now streaming live 24/7 on YouTube.
Hey, thank you for watching this on CNBC TV18. Hope you liked it. For more such interesting news and updates, follow CNBC TV18 on all the social media platforms.